Hi, my name is Carolina Soto. I'm the Executive Director of Plan BIM Chile, and I want to start by thanking the organizers for inviting me to present about what we've done here in Chile. I would love to be there with you in Dublin. It would be great to share with all of you in person, but I hope this online presentation gets my message through and we can have an interesting discussion afterwards. So I want to start by sharing my screen. Here we go. We should be seeing it right now. And what I'm going to talk about today is about the process that we've done here in Chile with the National BIM program and the National BIM mandate. So the presentation is called BIM Adoption in Public Projects in Chile, Strategies and Collaboration for the Digital Transformation of the Construction Industry. So first, I want to tell you a little bit about the challenges we had when we first started this program. We started in 2015, formulating it and convincing the different authorities that this was something that the government should work on. So the challenges we faced, and they're from the different conversations that we have with other countries, they're kind of the same that most of the countries face about construction and productivity. So we had a very low productivity in the construction industry. We had very low levels of use of BIM in the industry, and there was a lot of confusion about what BIM was. BIM is technology, BIM is software, BIM is 3D, etc. We had no culture of using standards for information management, and I know this could be different in your country when you first started in Ireland. Here in Chile, we're not used to be very organized in how we create and how we manage information in the construction industry. We had BIM was not being widely taught in universities and institutes. There were few training programs that were including it, and in education programs that were including it. The industry and the state were, and also are right now, not measuring the results of the project. So it's hard to improve things that you don't know the current results of. And there was also no baseline, and there's still no baseline or a consolidated database of public projects. So we don't know exactly, there's no one source of truth when you want to know which projects are being built by the government and um, how they're working, how much they're costing, how much the time they're taking to build, etc. So I'm telling you all these problems that we had in 2015. We have improved a lot, but we still have a few of these problems. So, but this was the base where the government said, okay, we need to do some actions to help improve these and help the construction industry, because it's a big part of our economy. It's a big part of the jobs, which is kind of similar in different countries. So we need to improve our efficiency and also the sustainability of our construction industry. So what was the strategy and how Plan BIM, this project I'm going to talk about, it was created? So there was, we have this objective, which is increasing the productivity, but also the sustainability of the construction industry. And for this, Plan BIM, our program works with the public institutions, but also with academia and with the private sector, in order for the three parts of industry to be prepared for this transformation. Plan BIM was created, as I was saying, in 2015 as part of the Ministry of Economy, and specifically as a part of an agency called Corfo, which is an agency that deals with the production of our country. So we're part of the Ministry of Economy and of a bigger program of productivity in construction called Construye 2025. It's called Constructing 2025. So, and also the creation of this program was done by a public-private agreement signed by seven institutions, private and public, different ministries, but also the Chamber of Construction and the Institute of Construction, the Ministry of Economy, Ministry of Housing, Ministry of Public Works, and Ministry of Treasury. And after that, that was signed in January in 2016, but also after that, 11 other institutions have agreed to be also part of this public-private agreement, including Ministry of Education, Health, Interior, etc. And also we have a larger part of the industry participating in different actions that we do. So not only by signing, the ones that signed, of course, are a big part of our program, but also we have tried to incorporate other parts of the industry as professional associations, universities, software vendors, companies, other public institutions, other private organizations, so we can represent a large part of the industry and the different views that the industry has, and we can create a change, a transformation of how things are done and how information is managed in the construction industry, but including the different visions and the different stakeholders that are main part of the industry. As I was saying, this started in 2015, but we had public requirements with BIM before that, but they were not standardized, they were not organized. In 2014, there was the creation also of a private organization called the BIM Forum in Chile. So we have a group of different private companies that meet and try to also promote the use of BIM in our country. In 2015, we had an announcement by the president of Chile saying we are going to move into BIM. In 2016, the program was formalized and the agreement was signed. And there were two goals that were set in the beginning. The first goal was by 2020, that we said the government is going to be requiring standardized BIM in public projects. This is something that happened, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it in a few minutes. But also we had a second goal, which is also including BIM in private projects through including it in an online platform for building permits. This is something that is going on, but it's in the hands of the Ministry of Housing right now. So this is not our goal, but this is a country goal. And for accomplishing these goals, we have done a lot of different actions and created a lot of material to help the industry, the public and the private sector and academia, to understand what they need to do in order to transform and to include BIM in their processes. So the strategy is we set some goals and we track how the goals are being accomplished. So that would be like the stick of our program, but also we have the carrot and we help the industry. So it's not just saying you need to do this and we don't care how you do it, but it's you need to do this, but we will help you do it. So we have created, as I was saying before, standard guides, training, different actions for communicating and educating about BIM and the different companies and public institutions. And we decided also from the beginning that we would not enforce these through decrees or laws, because we wanted to control the gradualness of this requirement. We didn't want to just put the stick, because we needed to help and to measure how the industry was moving, because we didn't want BIM to become an obstacle for the industry. We wanted to help build it step by step. So we had a roadmap from 2016 to 2025, sorry, with the 5 main focuses. But the 2 main focus are standardization and the human capital, the people. So that's a little bit about what I'm going to talk about. So big important things for us were, first having support from a higher level. So we had the support of the president of our country, who's mentioned in two different speeches that this was going to be a goal for our country, and that the public projects were going to require BIM. So of course this helped a lot to convince people that this was a serious request and was not something that it was going to change in a few months. And this helped a lot to push and give the initial push of our program. We also had, as I mentioned before, this public-private agreement. So we involved since the beginning the private sector. So to tell the industry, this is not something just from the government. This is something that we all need to build together and to work together. We also learned a lot from the international experiences. This is something that I recommend everyone that I speak with. We wouldn't invent the wheel in 2016. You won't invent the wheel right now. There's a lot of things going on in different countries, in different languages, in different levels of maturity. So we learned a lot from the experience from the UK, for example, and we've done a lot of technological missions to go to learn from other countries, alliances, agreements. We also we participate in networks so we can learn from others, and also so we can share what we've done, and it can be useful for others, for other countries or for other institutions that want to start or want to advance their implementation of BIM. And also we base all the material we create, we first look into what is going on at an international level, because we want BIM in Chile to be part of the global BIM. We don't want to invent our own way of doing, because that wouldn't be beneficial for our industry. We also, something that we also have managed to, and that has helped us a lot, is to have a full-time team. We have a full-time team, we have funding. The size varies. Today it's a little smaller than what I'm showing, but we have had a completely dedicated team that helps the public institutions to implement BIM, because their expertise, for example, the expertise of the Ministry of Housing is not BIM, is developing housing projects. So we are the ones who help them with BIM, and we work with their knowledge about their projects. So it's a combination about knowledge about processes and BIM and education in BIM and all the things, standardization, etc., that combines with the knowledge of the different organizations and their know-how about how to develop their projects. And we constantly collaborate and communicate with the government, with the private sector, and with academia, because everything that we create, everything that every material that we create, we do it through different meetings, public consultation, workshops, etc., so they can reflect the view of the industry in general. Sorry, and we do a lot of communication also. We do a lot of seminars, we do a lot of workshops, because we need to get this message through. And what an architecture company needs to hear about how BIM benefits them, it's different than what the Ministry of Housing needs to hear. So we create different messages, so these can make sense to the different audiences, sorry, that are part of the industry. They need different things. They need to understand them in their own way, in their own language. So we work a lot with communication to get the message through in a way that makes sense to every person and everyone involved. So what we have done in standardizations, we focused mainly on the processes, how we transform the processes of developing projects and to introduce BIM in a way that creates value. So we sorry, to go. back. We map the whole process. We find with the different people involved where they find common problems in the information flow, and then we figure out how BIM can help them reach those gaps and help improve specifically those real problems that they find. So it's not a generic recipe, but it's a very specific recipe of BIM for helping specific types of projects and specific types of institutions. With that knowledge and also learning from the knowledge of or the different documents available at an international level, we created the BIM standard for public projects in 2019. This is the base for all the EIRs that the public institutions are using right now. And this has been used for different types of projects. So airports, housing, the Antarctic base, educational centers, etc. And it's available, I want to say it's available not only in Spanish, but also in English. And you can, if you want to see it, you can download it with a QR code that it's in the screen. This, as I was saying, is based on different norms and protocols, the ISOs, and other guides that are out there that are used at an international level. We have also helped create a Latin American network of governments that are promoting BIM. This we learned from what was happening at that time when we first started these in 2016, 2017. We looked at what was happening in Europe, so the EU BIM task group, and we said, okay, we need something similar. We need to have a space where we can share with the other governments that are in our region that are doing similar things. So we created this network. Today is composed by 8 countries, and it helps us share and exchange knowledge and standardize BIM not only at the national level in Chile, but also at the regional level in Latin America. We have worked with the Inter-American Development Bank. We created, for example, this guide that we published last year for implementing BIM in pilot projects. So it's based on our methodology here in Chile, the methodology that we have created in Plan BIM, but it's also being applied by the bank in the projects that they fund and they help build in other countries. I'm sorry to say this guide is currently only available in Spanish, but it's a nice way to learn a new language. If you want to see it, you can also download it in the QR code that is on the screen. And we have created. Oh, this is very, very. I like this project very, very much. We helped creating a platform for automated review of projects for the Ministry of Housing. This is a platform that works in IFC, so it takes the standards and the standard way of organizing information as a base, but it helps the reviewers of projects that don't know anything about BIM, because it can just take the projects that they receive from, for example, private companies. They input them in this platform and they receive a report that tells them if the project is compliant with the different norms and also with the different requirements for those specific housing projects. So this is helping us a lot to bridge the gap between technology and the users. And also I said before that the people is very important for us, and how we train them, how we make them part of this transformation. So we do a lot of things focused on the people. We have created a BIM roles matrix. This is the document that tells people, okay, at the industry we have 5 roles, and each person that participates in a project with BIM should have these competencies and this knowledge given the role that they play in the project. This is something that we're reviewing right now. So we hope that in a couple of months we'll have a new version. We do a lot of scholarships and online training. We're currently doing an online training. It's focused on methodology, and we have trained more than 10,000 people. I think now we're training 11,000 people. So we can have a big number of people that understand BIM and can apply it and can understand that this is not only technology, this is something that we are trying to get through. And the last part I'm going to say is that we try to measure a lot. This is very important for us. And this is something that this is not very common in our country, measuring results of things. So we do observatories for education, but also for public projects. And we measured and we published one last year about public projects with BIM between 2013 and 2020. And we found out that we studied almost 2,000 tenders, and we found out that only 7% of our projects were the projects of these public projects were being required through BIM, which is a very low number. But the good news for us was that we discovered that 70% of the investment was being done with BIM. So BIM is being required in not many projects, but the ones that require more investment. So the ones that have a higher risk if they go wrong. So this was very important for us. BIM is being required where it can make a bigger difference. And also we measured how it's being required. So it's not about only quantity, but also quality. And we saw that between 2013 and 2020, how BIM was being required changed, and we're being and year after year, the requirements have started to include more of the standardization and BIM roles and having more clear objectives and being clear about why and how the BIM information is going to be used in a project. So this is, of course, we have still a long way to go, but this is a very big news for us because it means that what we are doing from the government is helping the industry understand that they need to standardize and be clear about the requirements, etc. So we have a lot of work still, but we are doing progress. So to end, because I know I went a little bit I'm taking a little bit more time than what I was allotted to. We're getting this. What is important for us? We have found so getting support from the authorities, having a dedicated team, and defining a clear leadership. So the industry, when they have questions about what is happening with BIM in the government, they know where to go. They know who to ask. This is very, very important. Adopting and adapting the international experience and trying to look at experiences that are similar to what is happening in our own country. This was very important for us, and this is something that we feel is important for others too. Working collaboratively with the industry and communicating constantly, measuring the results, and also generating tools and generating help for the industry to bridge the gaps, training, guides, standards, etc. Those are our main learnings from all these years in this public project. So with this, I end my presentation. Thank you very much, and I hope we can have a discussion afterwards. Thank you.